So what are the youth saying this year, and what are the political parties doing to appeal to them, to share their views? I'm joined by the Secretary General of the EFF Student Command, Rendani Nematswerani, and the DA's youth leader, Luyolo Mphithi, as well as National Youth Development Agency chairperson, Sifiso Mtsweni, joining us from our Durban studios. A very good morning to you, gentlemen, and thank you so much for joining us. Perhaps let's start here in terms of what the appeal to you with the political party that you subscribe to. What is it that appealed to you in terms of the promises that they made?
No, I think the EFF appeals to young people, and we are focusing much on developing young people and making sure that young people get an opportunity after graduating or wherever they are. If they are not working, they must get an employment. So the EFF has committed itself to assist young people and South Africans to make sure that they gain whatever they were lacking prior 1994 and even now at this point.
How?
No, you know, EFF as an organization is an economic freedom fighters organization which we are fighting for economy, especially economic to young people, and empower young people with economy. And young people must then gain economic emancipations. So you can't have a young people who are unemployed if you are in an economic state. You can't have young people who are not educated if you are in a country where it's led by economic freedom fighters. You can't have any young people that are going to suffer academically or so if the EFF they are in power, because we're going to bring everything together. Like we have started with the issue of land. We are starting to take land so that we can have a control over the economy of our country. The moment we have a control of the economy is then we're going to distribute amongst our young people, amongst the people of South Africa at large.
As you heard from the bite there, the young gentleman saying that Badla they're at the top, so when people get into power, then it's the whole, it's my turn to eat. What promise are you making to the youth, or what practical steps will you take to the youth in promising them, in voting for you, that things will be different?
I think the problem was created by the ANC by promising young people and never make their promise work. And I think us who are not promising, we're committing ourselves. We have started these things in the Institute of Higher Learning as the EFF Student Command. Wherever we're leading, we make sure that students, they get whatever they want, even if we're not leading. Like for an example, today when I'm sitting here, the University of Venda, we're not leading there in that university. But students, they experience challenges because they wanted to experience whether if we put the ANC Youth League now and remove EFF, what changes will be. And then they experience that the changes are the same. It's the same ANC, they're not going to change. Then now we had to come in and assist in making sure that they are registering for free, and all other institutions were doing the same. So we have got a program called the Fundangekani campaign that makes sure that we force each and every management in each university to register for students to register for free, and making sure that they are in the system, not only registering, but they are also in the system, because we found out that there are a lot of young people who are not in the system. They are rejected by the system, like UNISA. They rejected more than 100,000 students who applied. So the Fundangekani campaign aims to make sure that students are in the system. So by that, you can see that the EFF Student Command and the EFF itself, it's not only promising, but it's committing itself to young people and making sure that they get an opportunity.
Sifiso, from our Durban studios, let me bring you in here. Perhaps you could answer to that allegation that the ANC has made promises to people that they have not fulfilled.
Well, good morning and thank you for having us here. Well, I think we're not going to probably respond to some of the things that are being raised, but to say that, you know, the ANC has only been the government that has been tested in terms of the issues of youth development in this country. We've seen millions and millions of young people being registered to institutions of higher learning through the National Student Financial Aid Scheme. We've seen a lot of young people actually entering the job market. Indeed, there's been a lot of challenges in terms of issues of unemployment, issues of poverty, and I think if you listened yesterday to the President of the Republic and the President of the ANC outlining the manifesto for 2019, for the very first time, you would have noticed that the ANC actually focused on young people in these elections. And probably in passing, the gentleman from the EFF would probably also answer the fact that when he says that institutions of higher learning have actually tested the EFF, he would actually also answer that they've actually lost vendor, they've actually lost TEFLOP, they've actually lost vets, on the basis that on one occasion where they've been given an opportunity to govern students, they've not been able to rise to the occasion. In some cases in the University of Zululand in KZN, they've actually, without even being in the SRC, being removed from the SRC for issues of corruption and so on. But the point that we're raising is that yes, indeed, there are challenges that have been faced, but you have seen yesterday, more than 80,000 young people have packed Moses Mabhida Stadium, simply meaning that the confidence of young people in the African National Congress was actually restored yesterday.
So was that not an easy win for the ANC? We do know that it enjoys a strong support in KwaZulu-Natal. The picture looks different nationally. You talk about it's the first time that the speech focused on young people. Is it not too little, too late? We're hearing a lot from disgruntled young people who are saying they've run out of patience.
Well, no, I don't think it's a little bit too late. I'm saying that from 1994, when the country emerged from apartheid, the legacies of apartheid were actually quite big. Our people were living in squalor. Our people did not have jobs. Our people did not have access to quality education. And I'm saying that the first program of the African National Congress under President Mandela was the Reconstruction and Development Program, was the issue of social integration, building one nation, building a non-racial South Africa. And I'm saying that as we sit here today, millions of homes today have been built by the African National Congress. Today, as we sit, over 90% of the country has been electrified. When we sit here today, over 90% of the country's population has access to basic things like water, has basic things like sanitation. So those were the things that were quite important. But where we're sitting here today is that, indeed, we went through a very tough period where, you know, the economy shrinked. There were quite a few issues which were not just South African based, but internationally based. Unemployed went up, and young people became the biggest victims out of this. And one of the things that we've raised with the African National Congress leadership is to say, let's deal decisively with issues of unemployment. As you know, we sit here today, graduates have been unemployed on the basis of the issues of experience. The president of the ANC has now announced that from this year, experience will be removed as an entry-level requirement. There are issues of quotas where we have said companies must at least appoint 40% of young people within their own workforce. So I'm saying that this is the actual time where the whole country must actually talk about young people and say what is it that they need to do. We've declared 2019 as the year of the youth, and we think that the ANC has actually started this year in quite a fantastic way.
Luyolo, let me come to you and ask you what I asked Rendani. What was the appeal for you as a young person with the Democratic Alliance?
I think what is important for me as a young person is when you speak about young people in a political party, it starts at home, it starts in the political party. And when you look at other political parties in this country, they have not dedicated and put young people at the forefront of their leadership, at the forefront of their governments. And I think that is what the DA has done. The DA has dedicated and committed young people to lead communities as ward councillors, to lead their provinces within legislatures. We have young people in the ages of 25 in parliament. So we are committed to making sure that young people are at the forefront of leading the type of South Africa that we want, the type of South Africa that we want to see for not only ourselves as young people, but for our children coming up. And I think that is one of the key things that we've been able to do. But the one thing that Sifiso has been able to touch on, I think there's two things he's got wrong. Youth unemployment is not a challenge, it's a crisis. It's a crisis because the ANC has failed to address it. And as the NYDA chair, he knows himself that 61% of the NYD budget is dedicated to salaries and not young people. So he himself has failed to deal with the issues of youth unemployment or young people in general. And when we talk about young people, we must understand that young people are not not homogeneous. So young people are not only students. There are young people who don't even make it to university, who don't even make it to colleges. Young people who are left out, who never receive access to education. Young people in the rural areas, in Stekspruit, in Eastern Cape. Those are the young people who also want to be part of these conversations. So we mustn't only speak about students only. There are young people out there who are in corporate places, corporate world, young people who are trying to be entrepreneurs, young people who are trying to create jobs for fellow young people around us. And I think those are the issues we need to be talking about. How do we engage young people? Because up until we deliver and speak to issues of young people are not going to vote. So what are we saying when it comes to issues like unemployment? What are we saying when we talk about the economy, when we say we want less workers and we want an economy that encourages entrepreneurs? So those are the type of issues we need to be talking about and speaking here with each other.
You only need to go to the township on a Monday morning to see the level of not just unemployment but despondency amongst young people. Let's talk about those issues. What is it that you will do differently? You hear young people say, we're despondent because when people come into power, it's only about them, but it doesn't trickle down to ground level, yet every year when they want elections or want to win an election, then they come to us.
Definitely, I think one thing that Sifiso has mentioned is that the ANC president and of course the president of South Africa has approved young people to be able to find jobs without experience. But what we know about the ANC is that the policies are there but the implementation lacks. So what we are saying is the DA youth, what we are saying is the DA is that we need to equip our young people with skills. We need to be saying, how do we create an economy of entrepreneurs where our brothers and sisters within our communities employ their fellow young brothers and sisters in those communities? How are we creating an economy that is able to equip young people with skills, how to write CVs, how to be able, this is what we are doing in the city of Johannesburg with opportunity centers, where we are saying to young people, go to these opportunity centers, be able to learn the skills of entrepreneurship, the skills of writing a CV, and be able to gain those skills and go into your communities and create jobs. We can't be relying on an economy that is unable to grow, one, because within the last quarter, we've lost jobs in this economy. Within the last quarter, we've failed to put entrepreneurship as the key leading principle to encourage job opportunities for young people in this country. But outside of that, it's not only youth unemployment. Young people are not only affected by youth unemployment. Young people are affected by crime. Young people are affected by a lot of issues in this country. So the moment we want to separate young people from the main issues in this country, we make them homogenous and then we sideline them to the side. What we are saying is that let's do more to improve education. Michael Komape in Limpopo died 4 years old in a pit toilet because our education infrastructure in this country is falling apart. And Sifiso has the decency to come here and tell us about how the ANC has improved the lives of young people in this country. That is not true. Because if that was true, Michael Komape would have not died 4 years old in a pit toilet because there was no toilet in his school.
On that note, as we wrap up, I'd like to get thoughts, 20 seconds each, in terms of accountability. All these promises that you are making, all these grand plans that you are outlining, how do young people hold you accountable? Please let them know. Luyolo.
Well, what I want to say is that we have structures throughout the country where we have the DA youth. We are on the ground. We are speaking to young people. We are not there yet. And I think that's one thing that we need to be able to speak about. As political parties, we have not done the work. We must go to the ground. We must speak to young people. But I want to say, I am accountable as a young person because I'm a young person who's facing the very same struggles that other young people are facing in this country. I'm a same young person who went home in December. There's no water in Eastern Cape. We have to go around going to tap to tap. These are the issues that are not only affecting me, they're affecting my fellow young people as well. So I want to say that this is not a struggle that we are facing alone. Let us unite as young people. Let us be able to understand that if we do not unite, we will inherit a failed tomorrow. We won't inherit a country that we are proud of. So I want to say that the young people who are listening at home, please know that as the DA youth, we are on the ground. We have structures on the ground. And if there's something that we do wrong, tell us and we will fix it.
Rendani?
I think we, as the EFF, we have started the consultation manifesto with the people, and we account to the people. 2014, when we go for elections, we have informed our people that this is what we're going to do, and everything that we've committed, most of them, let's say 80% of them have been done, even though we're not in government. Firstly, we make sure that workers are insourced in the instance of higher learning and in the municipalities. Now, as I'm speaking to you, workers are being insourced. They are no longer being employed under the privatization of the broker. We are now moving to a situation where young people are getting experience and jobs wherever we have got an influence, like Joburg and Mtsweni. We are trying to influence to make sure that young people are getting opportunity. In the Institute of Higher Learning, we make sure that students and whatever, when they graduate, they also get an opportunity within that particular institutions. So as the EFF, we are going to account to our people, and we account in each and every space. As I'm speaking to you now, there are more than 100 calls that comes to us, inquiring about a lot of things. We are solving problems in daily basis.
Catch you there. I'm so sorry. Thank you very much. I think we've got the gist of your response. Sifiso, very quickly for us, accountability.
Well, I think one of the things that we've done very well quite recently is that the ANC has built credible institutions that account the public protector and all the Chapter 9 institutions. Our judiciary systems works very well. But I think quickly, the ANC has provided free schooling for basic, primary and secondary schooling, has provided free education for tertiary level young people. The NYDA only spends 35% on salaries, not 60%, just to clarify that. It's one of the best run institutions of government with 5 clean audits. But what is important is to say that the ANC has indeed done a lot for the young people of this country. But for the first time, we have a manifesto that says youth, youth, youth. That is why you are going to see us from today, every other week, young people are going to register in their numbers, just like the 85,000 that was in Moses Mapida yesterday. The ANC will be getting 2/3 majority from the youth vote in this country.
That's where we leave it. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. EFF Student Command Rendani Nematswerani, DA's youth leader Luyolo Mphithi, and National Youth Development Agency chairperson Sifiso Mtsweni joining us from our Durban studios. Appreciate your time this morning. Do stay with us. When we return, we talk about school fee exemptions for single parents. This is Morning News Today.